There's one kind of an easy thing to have in your pocket is that the foods that grow together, they go together. So if you think about an Italian wine with an Italian dish, these have been working together for centuries. They grew up around together. Okay. So Spanish Rioja and Spanish ham should go magically, right? And so normally when you think about wine and food, or at least of a meal itself, you really want to start light and then build towards more heavy things as you go throughout the meal.
I think that's an awesome little bit of that too. About both the what food grows together, and then starting light to heavy. Like I don't think I've ever heard anyone just sum it up in 2 quick sentences. So I think your knowledge through the years of working with this, you're able to sum it up pretty nicely on those.
Yeah, we kind of forget that in the last 100 years, we've all become specialists in our little job. And before that, people were all farmers. They grew their own agriculture.
Yeah.
And so they were connected to the farm, to their animals, to the food, everything that they grew. And so they had a vested interest in growing the wine and growing the food so that they go together. I mean, this is history that's just shown in real world.
I know a lot of restaurants, they'll start you with some bread and butter. That wouldn't be light though, right? Is that that'll calm you down while the food's cooking?
Kind of
strategy.
Yeah, it's really become. I think that's like historical thing too. Is that we think of like the most basic food that anyone would consume. If you were to go to a church in the old days, they would give you bread and water. It's just basic sustenance, right? So it's at least to say, like you're the guest in our restaurant, you're coming in to order a nice meal, but let's say something happens and you have to leave or blah, blah, at least you got basic sustenance, right? Here's food and water. Bam, there you go. So you can't leave here hungry. We're not going to let that happen, right? So I think it just starts that way. Really high-end restaurants will try to find that bread option to be a light and airy version.
Okay.
So something that's not like a rich, heavy sourdough. They might go for like a gougere, which is very, it's kind of like a puff pastry, or like a croissant would be. It's very airy and light. And so while it looks like something that's going to be very rich, it actually is just something to help stimulate the appetite and get you excited for all the food yet to come.
Nice.
But yeah, like starting light and having a little bit of wine really helps your digestive, and it starts to tell your system that, hey, there's food coming here, so get ready for it. And when you do that slowly over the course...
Warm it up, get ready.
Yeah, exactly. Start your engines, all right? We're about to run the marathon here. Like you can have... people always wonder, like, hey, how did the French have a meal for 3 or 4 hours? How can they sit there for that long and eat, Well, they've started light, and they've started medium, and they go to richer foods, and they just like spread it out over time, and it's much easier to do it and have a full meal that way, where there's often guests will come into the steakhouse, and they're thinking in their mind, well, steak and potato is going to fill me up, so that's all I'm going to get. And that's what exactly they do. They eat a really rich ribeye, they have a huge baked potato, and it's loaded with all the goodies, and they're like, I'm so full. Of course you are. Your stomach is dealing with this rich and fatty food that you just threw down in your gullet, and it wasn't ready to deal with all of it.
But there's always room for cheesecake.
Always room for cheesecake. Well, there's